Oh, Lewis, man, you're up late too. I wasn't expecting any other Brits. I did, thank you, mate. I had a good birthday, nice and chilled and relaxed. How are you doing? Let me just. I was actually throwing out this post to Patreon, Lewis. Impromptu late night live hang dialing tones. Oh man, you're up night burning the midnight oil. Is it have you got a gig? What? Presume it's a gig. What's the gig? Where's the share link? Should have done this first, really, shouldn't I? Let's see if this works. Should have done this first. It is. Okay, that is going to work. Okay. There we go. Man, yep, fair enough. How far's Inverness from where you are? Are you, I've forgotten where you are in Scotland, mate. Are you Edinburgh? So I'm going to just talk anyway. I know there's probably going to be no one watching this, but might as well just say something and talk about what I'm doing. So the FM3 firmware 10 has remastered the brown eye models, the Friedman BE 100. So I'm just kind of tweaking and just getting that back to, it's not changed that much, and where it has changed it's probably for the better, but I'm just kind of massaging it a little bit. And then I thought I'd maybe, I'm kind of finishing my brown eye arc with the modelers and stuff. The only one I can't do, the big ones I can't do, is Kemper, because I don't have a Kemper. And the Tonex, I've not been able to successfully capture my own amp with the Tonex. Now there are some amazing captures with the BE 50 with the Tonex, but I've not done them myself, so I kind of don't want to go down that route until I can find a way to get the Tonex capturing to work for me. So I'm going to planning like a big shootout video with of the brown eye with my real amp, my Stinky Opticians presets basically on the FM3, the Stinky Opticians presets with the capture of my real amp on the quad cortex, the HX Stomp B100 presets Stinky Opticians I've made. And also what I'm trying to do is dial in the actual Friedman model on the quad cortex. I find that really tricky, and just tonight, and it's only been until tonight, I actually think I've made some progress of dialing it in on the quad. So I'm going to kind of switch between all these while I'm just dialing in. Actually no, not the real amp and not the HX Stomp. I'm just going to be switching between the FM3 Stinky Opticians, the quad cortex Stinky Opticians capture preset, and the new quad cortex Stinky well, I'll call it something else, but the preset on the quad cortex with the actual model, not my capture, if that makes sense. Anyway, roughly. So just I can get this on screen so you can kind of see as I'm working. Hopefully that's legible. If it's not, maybe I can let me know. I can maybe make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. This is the You're going to be sick of this backing track. I think I will be by the time I finished it. But yeah, basically the main thing that I'm going to do for this shootout, because on the real amp I love it in the mid-gain structure setting, and for my original Stinky Opticians presets on the FM3 to recreate that, because obviously it's a B100 model in the FM3 Fractalverse, not the B50. And the model in the Fractal doesn't have the gain structure. So in order to mimic that, I would take this input trim down to like 0.8. But what I'm going to do instead is base this more closely to my taupe cornea preset, which is in the high gain structure, and just leave it at 1. But yeah, everything else is kind of going to be similar. Take the gain down a little bit. Tone controls are the same there, negative feedback's the same, and that's what's been changed with firmware 10 now. The negative feedback control, which maps to the real control on the real amp, is, what's it called? The response control. They've brought that to the main tone page here. And then the other settings, as you've seen from my previous videos on this, power amp, so the depth frequencies changed to 120, negative feedback at 2. I've got the auto impedance curve here, this slightly tweaked speaker drive and speaker thump values, and yeah. I've changed the cab block a little bit as well, so again for this video, so I'm going to be taking out both the cabs are the Marshall's 9060 TVs, the usual combination, dynamic tune, right ribbon mic, no low cut, distance I brought all the way to the grill coth. So a few tweaks from my main preset, but that's what's going on here. I think everything else effects wise, I haven't got the compressor on at the moment, but and the thing is, what I really love, I know a lot of people use the BE brown amp for quite a high gain tone, but I find that even in the high gain structure mode on the normal BE channel, it's not like super as aggressive as a lot of people's usage would lead you to believe. They can do that high levels of gain, but you've really got to get it on the HBE channel, or put the saturation switch on. I think the kind of, in its natural state, the Brown Eye's really a much more open singing kind of amp than just like a super high gain monster. So even when you've got like the gain control up at like 7 or 8 on the real amp on the BE channel, it's not like fire breathing uber gain. And in the mid gain structure on the BE50 Deluxe, it's a really gorgeous open sounding, refined kind of pushed, souped up plexi Marshall thing. Probably not going to be talking very much, just messing around. Just a wedding, bit of a drive, it's up near oh, I've already read that one, yep. Okay. So compress is where I've also changed this. I've been introducing the new 1176 style kind of JFET pedal compressor. I really like what that does on the quad cortex using the 1176 on there, and I think this is great too. So there does add a slight amount of grit and juice to it, but I think that's part of the nature of the kind of thing. But what it does for the response and the bounciness is very, very nice. I mean, that's so fun, it just plays itself. Even with my sort of cold, tired hands. But I've not quite got it exactly where I want yet. It's might be a bit too much grit, too much adding drive, so I may need to do this. Yeah, it's just a dB. Right, let's save that. In fact, no, I'm going to go back to where I was, or thereabouts. So this is, save that. It's that like time of year still, or just where we live in England, that you can have a really warm hot day and then it can drop really low in the evening. What are we at? 9 degrees now. Hey Nick, how's it going, man? Yeah, you finally caught it because I'm up late. I'm doing. This is not a proper jams and drams. This is just me shredding too many notes, dialing in with my OCD on the modelers. We need to hook up for calendars and do them if you want to do a jams and drams stream. Get our if you want to do that, let me have a live hang together. And another UK guy, Sam. How's it going, man? You're kind of, oh, are you a proper late night dude? How's it going, mate? This is very rare for me these days. I used to be, man, I was like, my 20s and into my 30s, I was like, I could go days without sleeping. It was really bad. I probably knocked years off my lifespan by the ridiculous all-nighters that I've done. But it's very rare these days. These days I'm like, sort of if I'm not gigging, it's like a 10:30 bedtime for me. My goodness, I reckon this says, this says something about UK guitar players. Look how many there are. Lewis, Sam, Lawrence, myself, This is like therapy club for the insomniac guitar, UK guitar crowd. Amazing. I thought it would be like 2 people in Manila or something. Oh, Lawrence, you're saying this is early for you. Well, I don't know if you caught it, Lawrence, but yeah, in my 20s, I could go like, I could do 48 hours without sleep, maybe, but I can't do that anymore. Sam, yeah, sorry you struggle with sleeping too, mate. Yeah, I've had periods in my life with terrible sleep stuff. Especially when I was on the antidepressants period of my life. That was, I mean, I needed it. It's one of those things that was absolutely necessary for the place that I was in, but they did an absolute number on my sleep. But shooting at my that's going to be the title of the video, the shootout. You probably didn't catch it, Nick. It's probably before you get. But the point is, I'm prepping a video, like a big shootout video of the real amp, the real Brown Eye, my FM3 preset, Stinky Opticians preset, and then my Stinky Opticians presets for the quad cortex, both the model and the capture, and the HX stomp. So I'm just tweaking in a plate doing that. Oh, Nick, sorry, dude. Yeah, it's just a common thing, I guess, for a lot of musicians. Probably doesn't help with a lot of the lifestyle we have in terms of gigging as well. Sometimes if you get on like a bad patch of like lots of late night gigs, it can kind of basically becoming like a you're like a night shift, you know, you work in night shifts thing, and but not quite properly night shifts. So you're always on this weird body clock adjusted shitter. It's the never finished nature of practice prep as well. So many hours spent on the FM9 edit. Yeah. I'm pretty good now, Sam. I have to say, I'm pretty good at like being happy and, you know, making presets for like just giving out to people, you know, and putting on Patreon and or like on, you know, just like demoing things. I'm getting a little bit better at not like overly, you know, I'm finding things, especially since they've done the capture thing, like actually messing with capture stuff is a lot. I don't know if we talked about this when we were at the pub, Sam, but I find that whilst my nature is to want to do tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, the capture thing doesn't let you do that because you can't tweak captures. It's just a, well, you can't not successfully. It's just a snapshot. Yeah. So I found that's been good for my like mental health approach with like not obsessing too much. Yeah, too many years of night gigs. Will, how's it going? Yeah. I was really only expecting like 1 or 2 people, and certainly wasn't expecting the UK people. But it's nice, very welcome, and keeping me company. So, all right, I'm going to keep working. So I'll chat and keep an eye on the chat, and if anyone's any questions or wants me to do anything specific, then feel free to ask. But so I don't even know if I'm going to need different scenes for this preset for the shootout video. Reverb's beautiful on the fractal stuff. I might just make it a bit more. I'm going to have to kind of balance and tweak the wetness levels between the two, all the devices, and that. Yeah, I'm not doing that now. I'm not going to say the name that shan't be named. I'm not going to invoke the name Nick. No good can come of it. The only winning move is not to play. Okay. Let's swap over to the. I'm going to swap over to the quad. Hopefully this is still going to work. I didn't consider my routing. Hold on, let me. Let me know if stirring. Yeah. I don't know any GT. I haven't got my I haven't got that effect. But let me know if you can still hear this. So this is the capture of the real amp. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Nick. This is the capture of the real amp into the into the quad cortex. So let's warm the fingers back up on this. Rodney, how's it going, man? What's good? How often do you use your real apps? I recently found... what's that I found? Dream tone on a plugin, and I don't know if you ever get a real app. Yeah, great question, man. I mean, whatever works for you, and I think that if you find your tone, no one's to tell you what's right or wrong, and the world's changing, and you know, it's just things roll, don't they? If you like the sound, you like the sound. It's a good question though. How often do I use it? I use them quite a bit. I don't gig with them, sadly. I wish that's becoming harder and harder to actually gig with real amps, especially in the UK for the type of gigs that I do at the moment. You know, it's modelers and in-ears, or maybe an FR if you're lucky. But I actually play them. I am very lucky and very fortunate in that I've got like a separate studio, small building, separate to the house. It's all detached, and we're kind of in a fields in the middle of nowhere, sort of. So I can get away with cranking these up whenever I want. I'm very lucky and fortunate on that. And I don't have tons of amps. I've got three amps I use and 2 in storage that I probably should maybe get rid of. But yeah, so there's basically the dream amp, the Friedman B50 Deluxe is pretty much the, you know, if I could only have like one amp, I think that would be it. It's like a no compromise, incredible channel switching, 2-channel, you know, 2.5 channel amp. And I've not done the main video on that amp yet, and the amp just on its own, talking about it, but I plan to. But the Brano channel and the HB channel is what it's all revered for and known for, but the clean on it as well is just as good as like any other kind of really great clean amp. And I think it's a little bit unsung and unrecognised. When the B50 Deluxe was made, it was basically the clean channel of the Buxom Betty, so an incredible clean channel stuck in that as well. So it's a no compromise amp, and cranked in the mid gain structure it's just delightful. So I mean, I kind of get it from like a perspective of like, you know, if the attractive, it's, you know, it's attractive, or the in terms of wanting to play real amps, perhaps I think you should, because of, you know, you get a lot of snobbery about amps, real amps and things. But you know, if you like get on with modelers and you get on with plugins, then just use whatever tone works for you, man. I can't tell the difference between sound anymore, recorded sound. And in fact, I can get tripped up because I can actually sometimes listen to a real amp and think, oh, that sounds harsh and fake and digitally or fizzy, and it's not. it's a real amp mic'd up. I think sometimes we kind of forget how harsh a real amp mic'd up badly can sound. And sometimes like a good plug-in setting or good modeler dialed in is fantastic. The difference, the thing that still is the sort of the qualitative nature of a real amplifier is the feeling of the air moving in a way, and the response. It's not a sound thing. It still is like a proportion of air that's being moved in a certain way, and the response nature thing. It's all a subjective kind of qualitative thing about how it feels. That's still something very pleasurable about playing a real tube amp turned up loud. Hopefully that helps. Anyway. What, just out of curiosity, Rodney, what plugin is it that you've found that you really like, that's got your tone? I find as I get older as well, all my kind of, I've developed a kind of a tone I'm going for, and it almost doesn't matter. I was chatting with John Corley about this a little while ago, and it's like, he will often say that he kind of is, no matter what he's demoing or going for, he always kind of tries to go for the same kind of tone regardless. And I think I sort of do the same thing. I've got a certain characteristic or aesthetic that I like, and frequency ranges and gain response and things. And it's one of those things where, I don't know, it's like, you sort of coalesce to a certain kind of sound for the way you like to play. So I've really got two main lead sounds, I guess I would go for. Two main lead sounds that I feel comfortable with. And that's like a Dumble-ish. Obviously I don't know what real Dumble is, but the kind of my imagination of what I've learned from modelers and things and pedals as to what a Dumble sound is. And I really do kind of like what I think that does, the way it feels and plays. So in the Fractal, it's my main Dumble presets, like Bumble Fumble. And then also the other one, so that's the one type I like, and then the other one is what we're working on now, the kind of Friedman modded reduced Marshall kind of thing, refined, refining the edges off a Marshall. Nick, you've gone back to using amps live when you can. It's just more inspiring, but it is FM3 when I have to. Studio, it's almost 100% modeler. Yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it on the gigs you're doing, if you can get away with that, then yeah, it's getting very hard in the UK for any kind of like corporate paid whatever function type of gigs to use guitar amps. There, a lot of everyone seems sort of clamping down. So if you're doing original stuff, or you're doing bars and what have you, then yeah, maybe still amps are still happening, but sadly it's not really happening anymore for a lot of people. Rodney, the Tone King Imperial from Neural. Oh, that is a great plugin, man. I mean, it's very, very good. And the Morgan SW50. Okay, cool, yeah. So I really like the Morgan AC20. In fact, you can't see it, or can you see it? But that's my other, where is it? There you go. That's my other, like, that's my Voxys kind of thing, the AC20. And yeah, I love the plugins. And in fact, it was originally the Fractal XFX2, the Morgan AC20 model in the XFX2 that actually made me fall in love with Vox type sounds. Love that model so much in the Fractal and the plugin as well. So Rodney, yeah, I mean, just roll with it. If you like that and that makes you happy, then you don't have to buy an amp unless you want to. Nick, the Victoria 2012 okay, Deluxe is about perfect. Okay, I don't know that, but it's cool. Victoria 20112. Okay, yeah, I get it. 20 watt 1x12. Is that what that number code means? Have I just deciphered that correctly? 20112 is 20 watts 1x12 combo. Your stuff is mostly concerts and increasingly my name. Oh, nice. So I can do what I want. I mean, now that is the dream scenario, isn't it? Yeah, if it's under your name and you can, if it's under your name and you can call the shots with that, awesome, dude. Nice one. Theatre shows, 100% modeler, yeah. Sam says, I should probably put some of these on the screen, but I think I'm just going to delete this stream. It's not a proper jams and drams, and I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it for patrons, but Sam, I had a wild one last week when the Nano Cortex arrived and I was bouncing between tones on the FM9 Tonics and Nano Cortex. They all sounded insanely similar. I had a real what the hell am I doing moment. Oh man, well that's it. Like, hold on a second. Let me see if I recorded this earlier on. So let's see if this, you might not be able to see this on the screen very well, but let me see. So here's the FM3. And here's a Stinky Opticians capture on the quad. Actually, I've not shown you this yet, but this is Choco Vision. I might change the name of this, but this is my so Choco Vision is the current working title for my preset on the Quad Cortex using the Freeman model, so not my own personal capture preset on the Quad. That's Stinky Opticians, the model of the, you know, the actual component modeling of the brown eye in here. So this is that recording of work in progress. So the point being, Sam, is that I agree with you. What the hell am I doing? I mean, they are very similar, but there are, you know, we can't help it, can we? So, Nick 5E3, yeah. Rodney, yes, your videos definitely inspired me to actually invest into the plugins. Cool. I'm glad they helped. Nick, yes, it's the 20 watt 1x12. I deciphered it. Paul Donovan, the AC20 in the FM3 is a really good bass amp to build off of, clean to dirty. 100% it is. It's so good, the AC20. I think in everything really. It's just such an incredible amp, and I've gone to sell my real AC20 so many times because it doesn't have an effects loop, and that's the real heartbreaker, because obviously, yeah, you can stick things in the front, but really you can't get the benefit of all the lovely drive sounds and then still have like time-based effects, unless I start messing around with like tube amp expanders or things like that, whatever. But when I use the models or the plugins of the AC20 on the Fractal or whatever, or the Neural, on my capture, because I've actually captured my real AC20 into the quad, then you can do all of that. So what I found is I rarely, that's the one that I turn on least, the Morgan, the real Morgan, because like I can get pretty exactly the same sound and the benefit of time-based effects in the plugin. So yeah, it's fantastic. The Morgan AC20 is such a legendary amp to me, because I think without discovering the Morgan AC20, I don't think I'd have ever gotten into Vox style amps, because then it was the AC20 opening the door for Vox style amps that then made me explore like the Matchless, you know, and actually even some of the Vox stuff on the Fractal itself. So yeah, I'm really grateful to the AC20. Nick has a Bassman 2 called the 45 4x10. I think I can work that one out as well. My 43-year-old brain is still ticking, but that's too loud. Yeah. So Alexa Skribic, welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for watching. What do you think is quality-wise, which is better, FM3 or QC? Depends how you define quality. If we're talking about build quality, then here's an absolute zero, no-brainer, zero, no contest. This thing, you can't see, can you? This thing will never leave the desk. I wouldn't trust this. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't trust it for anything. I don't want to breathe on this. So many people with a quad cortex, almost everybody I know with a quad cortex has had it break at least once. I think there's a lot to be desired when it comes to quality wise in terms of build quality of it. There's no comparison to the Fractal. The FM3 is like a tank, you know, it's built and thought, and the design in terms of its build quality about professional usage, you know, the kettle lead situation. Obviously it's chunkier and it's heavier, but you know, that's, I think, for good reason. If we're talking about sound quality, I think they can both sound obviously very, very good. Fractal is second to none. It really is, just in terms of tone and feel, it's right up there. The quad cortex is can be amazing, and it's, with captures, I think it excels extremely well. It's got very good effects, not as good as, you know, as many as the Fractal, but it's got good effects. The quality of the captures is amazing, as I said. The quality of the amp models, though, is very hit and miss. So I think some of them are great with a little tweaking. The deluxe reverb in there is surprisingly really, really good. The model of it. There are a few others that's pretty good, but things like the Friedman, which is what I'm doing tonight, finally turned the corner on making it work. But the Friedman BE 100 in there, the actual model, it's like good, but it's, well, I say good. No, it's I think it's, you can get it to be good, but it's like, it's hard work. So I think it's very variable with the models. But if you've got real gear that you love, it captures that. This, you know, the quad cortex is fantastic for capturing that. So that would be my opinion, I guess. If I could only use one device, it's Desert Island, one device, and it would be the FM3 every time. But having said that, you know, I plug into this a lot and just load up my captures of my amps, and I've got that tone, so, and that, I really do like that too. Hopefully that helps. Nick, you prefer the FM3, hearing them side by side, it's warmer and seems less like a snapshot. Fair enough, yeah. I can't disagree with that. I mean, there's something about the transients, I think the attack and the transients on the quad cortex of both the capture and my newly tweaked modelled version, they're very good, but the back end of the modelled version is like the sustain is not quite as pleasant, especially as you go up through the gain, whereas the FM3 is really... So you listen to the length of the notes that's sustained. I know I'm shredding my balls off, so there aren't many sustained notes. But there's like a warmth, as you say, Nick, and sustain to the notes that I think on the Choco Vision one, it's That sounded more like, on that note, like just, I don't know, it's just something a little bit there to my ears anyway. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but the capture, the stinky capture on the quad. That again, that one there sounded so much smoother. That's the capture there. So you hear the same. That's a really good example actually of what I'm talking about. So the capture had that kind of warmth to that note. God, we're up so late being so OCD. Listen to that phrase. That's the capture, and this is the Chocavision modeled version. I'm not sure how well that's coming across on the YouTube with the audio, but on the modeled version, it's like, it's not as round or warmth as it sustains, if that makes sense. And the FM3, let's see what that one's like. Again, it's rounder on that. And I've played, this isn't reamped, I've actually played this phrase 3 times here. So maybe there's something there that's unfair on how I'm attacking the strings potentially, but I don't know, it just tracks with my experience of the experiential side of playing it as well. That I think it's harder to dial the modeled version in. Although I'm getting there, I think this Chocavision preset is I think it's getting there. And this is the dialed version. It's way better. This Chocavision dialed in version is way better than it was just as stock. Anyway, mate, your preset names are incredible. Sam, my preset names are a reflection of my immaturity. And you know, if you're gonna be, it's like you've got to respect Dave Friedman. You know, Dave Friedman's childish, immature amp names. I've got to reflect. I've got to try and live up to that with my childish, immature preset names. Nick, maybe I'm just tricking my ear though, bias or something. Quite possibly. Although I think, you know, that's what I'm trying to do here. I don't know how it's coming through, but like that's what I'm trying to, like just listening out for certain phrases and comparing, you know, like this kind of things that I'm talking about. So, oh, hey, how's it going, Vice Atrucci? Good to see you, man. I'm using my 2 Landau Hot Rod DeVilles with my quad cortex in stereo, going into the inputs versus FX return. It sounds killer. Amps are completely clean with no preamp gain, so I can use the EQ on the amp. Nice, nice. Sam, I do notice a difference in feel when changing between rigs, I think maybe. Yeah, I reckon there is a difference in feel. I actually really like the feel of the captures on the quad. It's like the front end is like really nice. That feels like the amp. And I think there's the back end sustain and is good too. I'd say it feels they feel as good as the FM3. The captures on the quad feel as good as it is my presets on the FM3, but the modeling doesn't quite. On the modeling of the quad, the front end attack and transient is really nice, and I think they do that quite well. But it's that sort of the back end and the sort of sustaining aspect of it where it starts to feels to me again. Maybe I'm biased, or it's like whatever, like psych or whatever, like Nick says. But I don't know. I don't feel like I try not to be like wedded to one device or company. I don't have any relationship with Fractal or Neural or Line 6 at all. So I don't feel like I've got any reason to be biased. But I still could be, I guess. Don't know. Oh, the Texas Lone Star is great too, yeah. Oh no, Sam. Oh. Neural DSP. Oh. I want to like them so much, but this is just like, this is just too common. I'm having to send back the Nano as it has a fault. That's 2 for 2 on faulty neural disk. I tried to defend them so much, but I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. But man, the failure rate on Neural's products is just, man. I love my Nano. So are you getting another one? Are they sending you another one? I absolutely love this thing. Like, genuinely think, if I could only have one or the other of the quad or the Nano, I would absolutely choose the Nano over it, because it pretty much does everything that I like about about the quad. It's giving you the best things about Neural, which is the capture and the I don't know. So, but I was hoping that this was going to be like, build quality wise was better. But so Sam, what is the fault, if you don't mind me asking? Do you know what it is? What's happening? Just I'd be really curious to know, for looking out for mine developing this fault. Vosatrucci, yes, the QC is really best when using captures. Fractals models are better for sure, and of course effects no comparison. Fractal is king. Spot on. Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. Alex, thanks for the honesty. These days, very hard to find someone as to get. Well, I guess, you know, the tricky thing is, like, yeah, it is what it is. You know, you can only just be honest about your affiliations with people, and then people can either trust you or believe you or not. Obviously, like you know, the only device affiliation I've got with, in terms of this kind of gear, is I did have the Tonex pedal, and I was doing some work with the Solo app, that obviously is my product, the app I developed, Tom Quayle Solo. So we were kind of doing some testing with gear, and some sort of, we do in fact recommend not the Tonex but the iRig HDX as like working with that really well, and IK Tonex sent out a Tonex and an iRig for us to be doing some testing with. So that's the only sort of semi kind of relationship I've had, and I really do love the Tonex captures. The sounds and the feel of a lot of the Tonex premium third-party captures are phenomenal. They're as good as or better than the quad. The downside with the Tonex, and again, it's just me trying to be totally honest, is the software is painful to use and unreliable, and I've lost captures. I've lost, not captures, I've lost, you know, when you kind of buy the third-party, you know, capture, you know, whatever they are, Tonex captures, sometimes they can just disappear from your software and stuff, and sadly I've not been able to actually capture my own amps with the Tonex stuff yet, because like the beautiful thing about the quad and like the Nano, and I guess the Kemper, although I've never used it, is that it just does it. You know, you don't have to like worry about anything, it just works. Whereas I've tried maybe 7 or 8 times now, maybe 10 times, setting up everything to try and capture my amps with the Tonex, and it never works. There's always something goes wrong with it. But people obviously do it successfully and make great third-party packs for it. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, honesty thing is just, you know, I'm not currently, it's not a way that I kind of monetize things in terms of having like doing super like paid demos or reviews or anything like that. The only thing that does fall into that category is like my relationship with Fibonari, which is, I'm an artist, worked with them for a long time, collaborated, and so you'd have to take everything I say about Fibonari with a pinch of salt, because I'm obviously got a vested interest in that. You know, I work with those guys, and you know, I get free guitars and stuff from them, and stuff. So, so yeah, and done like clinics and demonstrations and things. So, but yeah, you can only just disclose all that and just try and be as people can take it for what it's worth. Wadey, how's it going, man? What's up, Night Owl? What's up is that, yeah, can't sleep. Everyone knows the Line 6 Pocket Pod is boss. Probably, you know what? I reckon I reckon like John Cordy could get an amazing tone out of the line 6 pocket pod. I didn't know Boss made it though. I'm not a dad, but my goodness, I've got some dad jokes. Nick, can hear it, the capture sounds the same treble-wise all the time, but an amp changes per note. The sustain is different, the capture sound too consistent to me. Good, but subtle. I chose QC over Fractal for a multitude of reasons, but I had the FM3 as well, and it ultimately came down to capture tech for me. The options paralysis I suffer from is not nearly as bad for me called Cortex. That's a great point, Vice Satrucci. It's what I was talking about earlier on with Sam Whiting, in that one of the bonus benefits of the capture is that what I find myself doing is just plugging into the quad, turning it on and playing. And there's no temptation to tweak it because you can't really tweak it, the captures. So once you've like found, like it's like with my real amp, my real Friedman, like I don't massively change the tone settings on that all the time. You know, you tweak it here and there, but there's a general thing that I like in each of the modes for it. And that's the thing, I've just captured those and all across the gain stages and stuck them into there and then just turn it on and play. So it does help if your brain is wired in that certain way of like, I think it really helps to reduce some of that paralysis and some of the endless tweaking and just to get you playing quicker. That's a really great point. Yeah. Humour makes life fun. Indeed it does. Sam, can't decide whether to get a replacement or to just live my life. Sorry, Sam. That made me laugh. No drams to help with the insomnia from Luke. Not tonight, no. I'm a sensible drummer. My dramage is very sensible, and I had one on my birthday after my gig in the travel lodge, which was not normal on that night. But I really do just save my drumming for the stream now. So I try not to for the jams and drums stream. And I think if I'm drumming every night, then it's going to be a bit of a problem. And Jeff, how's it going, man? Good to see you. I've been thinking about selling my QC and just getting the Nano. I only use the captures. I mean, this is always the worry, isn't it? Like, when it came out, it's always a head scratcher with what Neural are doing as a company, because they're incredibly successful, and the marketing's amazing, and the plugins have taken the world by storm, etc. But some of the choices in terms of the products and things it's never always quite as clear as to why things are doing things what they're doing. Because I could totally see that, and especially since they've just done this amazing update to the Nano, given all these drives and compressors and delays and reverbs, and making it more like a fully fledged thing. So if you only use the captures, then there's a very good it's a very good argument for like what it's kind of wild, really. Yeah. So it's a bug that was allegedly squashed in the past, in which results in random blasts of white noise from one of the outputs. I scared a Zoom student to death when it first happened. Oh, Neural. Vi Satrucci, it's easy to get caught up being in a certain camp gear-wise and tribal almost, but you just have to look at them like tools in the toolbox and not get caught up in the noise input. Yeah, I mean, I've never tried to, I don't think I've ever been that way anyway. I mean, to say I'm not tribal is probably naive, but other aspects of my life I try to not be, and then yeah, I'm not going to be so over my guitar gear. Alexa, can you confirm technical confusion? I was reading Guthrie's book recently and found out that he keep his right hand playing 16th notes all the time in his right hand. Do you do similar for better time? not sure I fully understand the question there, Alexa. Sorry about that. I think maybe past what you're saying. Try. I think if you can utilize a consistent like thing in the right hand, like if I'm playing like or no, just think of something else. Brain failure. What are some of the others? So like 16th note. That Nick Granville's the one to talk to. Go and watch some of his stuff on funk playing. He's an absolute groove monster when it comes to this kind of thing. Maybe he can chime in. I do a lot of it as well. But I think maybe what Guthrie was talking about, it's been a long time since I read his book, so I don't know, but I'm just trying to parse it from your question. But yeah, if you like, if you're playing a sort of 16th bass kind of funk thing, then if the right hand keeps going even when you're not hitting the strings, it can kind of inform and evenly space out and make you feel kind of like how the groove should be going. I don't know. Sorry, I can't really answer that because I don't fully understand the question, Alexa, but maybe that's helpful. On the options paralysis thing, I also find myself plugging into the nano cortex over the QC 95% of the time for that reason. Right. Yeah. Even more so. Yeah. The only thing I'd say with the nano that you compromise on slightly is the cab lock. Now I think the cab lock is really good, but there's just less options, and some of my favourite options in the quad are not there. But you can totally get around. You can totally get around it with some other good options and tweaking. And if you're a big third-party IR person, you can load those into the nano. So, where am I? What am I plugged into? I'm gotten sidetracked. So I was in the. So this is the capture. So let's go to the reason I decided to do this stream. Oh, Vi Satrucci, tangent alert, the Solo app is fantastic. I'll take a tangent for some praise on Solo app. Yeah, nice one. Really, thank you so much for checking it out. And if you find it useful, that's really rewarding to hear. We put a lot of work in, and we still can't put a lot of work into Solo, and I'm very proud of it for what it does and how it helps train the 2-point system. So, yeah, thank you for using it. I'm glad you find it helpful. So yeah, the whole point of why I ended up doing this random late night stream was because I was just been like tweaking and trying to get the modeled version of the Brown Eye up to scratch and dialed in to be more closer to my real B50 and my preset in the FM3 and the captured version. So very kind, thank you, man. So this is down here. So this is Choco Vision. So yeah, if I go through using the thing that Cortex control, the desktop editor, is pretty good. It does like crash all the, well, not crash, it like loses connection all the time with the quad. It comes back in like 2 seconds, but it does that a lot. But generally speaking, the app is, the edit software is really good. The way they've done the Friedman on the quad, the modeled version, is kind of strange, because they've called it like the clean, Friedman 100 clean, which is self-explanatory, the clean channel, but then they've labeled these as Friedman 100 lead and then Friedman 100 rhythm. Now, I'm pretty sure the 100 rhythm is the BE channel and the 100 lead is the HBE channel. But that doesn't quite make sense. I don't know why they would label it that way, because it's not like, you know, one is rhythm and one is lead, and it's just the different characters of gain, and there's more gain on the HBE. So it's just a weird kind of naming convention. And then it doesn't kind of do it, obviously because this is alphabetizing here in the list, it then doesn't make sense as to how much, as you sort of go down from clean to lead to rhythm, it would suggest in some sense that it would be clean is the clean channel, that's the BE channel, and that's the HBE channel. So it's kind of hard to kind of parse out what's going on here. And there's no, I can't find any kind of official documentation or like logic to it or about what's going on. And I would have, because what would have made more sense is just to have the 3 channels as a switch in one amplifier, I guess. But anyway. So what I've got in the preset is what I've managed to do is have 2 amps in here. So I've got one for the rhythm, which is the B channel, and one for the lead, and then have 2 scenes per amp. So on scene E, this is here is going to be the cleanish. I can stick it in gig view. You'll see that. So cleanish is going to be this one here. So gain down on 4, as you can see the settings there. So what I've found is bringing down the presence to match where I have it on the amp. Turning on the voice setting has helped a lot. And then just dropping the output there. And then the cab. So getting the cab sort of right as well. So I've got, there's a couple of other options here that I'm going to go through as well that are greyed out. I've not got turned on, the plug-in cabs. So this is the 41290s 60 B greenbacks. That's on scene E, and then it just goes through the 4 scenes E, F, G, H with more gain. So on F it's the same. Basically the same settings, but the gain up to 7.5. So this would be the equivalent of my main kind of dirty-ish scene on the FM3. And then onto G, it switches over to the HBE. Now on the fractal, and I don't do it like that, and on the real amp capture presets, I don't do it like this. I have the first 3, the cleanish, the dirtyish, and the B chunky scenes are all on the BE channel. But it doesn't really, I don't find it doesn't really work. Like if I try and just up the gain more on the B, this Friedman rhythm one, it doesn't sound or work that well. So for this one, for this sort of rhythm chunky scene, I'm using the HBE model, Friedman lead. And then this is where just things start to change a little bit. So voice is on again, pumping the treble a bit more mids, dropping the bass, and we have to drop in the master down. Mateus, I think they give you 3 versions of the amp because one with a switch would probably be pretty heavy on DSP consumption, and chances are the switch would mute the output like in some other blocks. That's a very good point I didn't consider in terms of the DSP being, if it's all loaded at once, I guess, in one amp block. Yeah, very good point. Chances are the switch would mute. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of their problem though, isn't it, to sort? And they, in terms of the DSP, it's touted as, or it was touted as, you know, the most powerful, you know, super powerful, can do anything kind of thing. I don't know. I'm slightly devil's advocate there, although I do take the point on DSP. I don't actually have a problem with having those 3 separate amps. It's more just the clarity, I think, of like what are they called and what are they corresponding to as to the real amp, because it sort of doesn't make sense as it's labeled really, and there's nothing that I've found anyway that actually says yes, the lead is the HBE. It kind of sounds and feels like that way, but I don't know, it's just a little bit odd. Yeah, I know that the muting of the output, switching, I know there are certain, I think with the plugins, is it when the plugins change? I can't remember now. There is something, I do recall that about the output's muted on the switch for something. So I need to change this B chunky to HB chunky, because I'm using the HBE for that. And then finally on the full HBeans, again, I'm just pulling the bass back even more. Just taking the gain up to 9. And then I'm just adjusting the overall output a little bit. So as I move between, I think that's pretty nice in terms of the gain structure as it moves through. That feels somewhat reminiscent of the amp, how it changes from the BE channel to the HBE. Yeah. That's what I was going to do next, wasn't it? So the other thing I found with, now I can't do this because it involves the plugins. So when I share the presets, it's only going to work, this trick's only going to work if someone's got the plugins. But some of the cab blocks in the plugins have like room mics that you can turn on, which is really, really good. So if I turn off this main cab that I'm using in the main cab block, if I turn off the Brit 60B GB90s and then turn on either the Soldano cab block or the Pliny cab block, I think I'll do the Pliny. Now the Pliny cab block, I can't remember what it is or what speakers is using, but what's very cool is on this second page here, you've got the room mics. Again, I don't know how well this is going to translate over YouTube, but turning on the room mics, it really does help in terms of like some of that bounce of air and feel. So I've kept the same, so you know, dynamic mic and the ribbon mic. No high cuts or anything, but yeah, I found this really good option. Tonally, I'm not sure I dig in that as much. Maybe I need to tweak that a little bit more. This is why I've got the different options as well, like because the Soldano has the room mics as well. Not sure I like either of them tonally as much as this cab block here, but they do have a very nice pleasant feel to them with the room mics, turning that on. I wish it was something that they'd offer across the board on everything really. But to be honest, if I'm honest, I've not tweaked these cab blocks as much to sort of find the positions on the mics as that I like best. So. Matthias probably has been asked before like a million times, but what humbucker is that one? I'm impressed by how it manages to remain harmonically rich even after YouTube compressed the audio. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the humbucker, it needs a little bit of a clean. As you can see, but it's a little bit of dirt. I need to clean that off. But what's the model number? So it's Fibonari own pickups. They build, wind, make everything on the guitar, even the bridge, and it's their own humbucker. These are sort of like, they're not sort of super low output, but they're kind of low output, medium output, I'd say, sort of single coils, very stratty, but not vintage stratty. And then the bridge, I think it's the ALV 63 Fibonari humbucker, with obviously the cover. It's incredible. It's a really nice balance as well, and there's a real good balance between like the I always find with like HSS guitars, I mean I love them, but a lot of people kind of complain about HSS guitars for various reasons, and the dip and the drop and the balance between the single coils and the bridge. But this for me, that's not the right. Let me just, in fact, I'll go back to Stinky Optician's Capture one for now. Yeah. I mean, that's so, it's so stratty, you're like. It's a gorgeous single coil sound. drop to the bridge, it's balanced in terms of volume. You get the power and sort of the throatiness of the humbucker. Going to the neck, there isn't like this massive drop in volume. And I don't know how they do it. I mean, the Fibonari guys are just, this is where my honesty, you've got to take with a grain of salt, because like I was saying earlier, like, you know, I do collaborate with Fibonari and work with them. So, yeah, this is the grain of salt for me. But yeah, they're amazing. The genius is what they do in terms of when they're winding the pickups and really sort of paid attention to what I've asked for and wanted. And they're really cool as well, like wooden rings, and then the actual pickups themselves are made from, these are rosewood, and that's maple surround, yeah. And the little bee in the sandblasting, I don't know if you can see it, needs a clean, like I say, but yeah, the 2 bees to match the bees on the 12th fret. Yeah, gorgeous guitar. And it's like my main, these are my main 2 guitars. Because ultimately I'm a Strat man. So it's always some variation of Strat that's home for me. So these are my 2, my number 1 and my 1A and 1B. It's hard to pinpoint exactly which one is 1A and which one is 1B. It changes on the day, but this is the one I actually designed almost fully with them, calibrated with them to. This is now sort of about to become like my model. There's building some of them currently. And yeah, it's like my take or our take on you know, 3 single coil vintagey kind of Strat, but with some modern appointments. Pickups in this are incredible too, in this one, the blue one. Yeah, and so yeah, it kind of goes back and forth between which ones are the you know, which one is 1A and which one is 1B, but ultimately I'm a Strat guy, so that's where things sit. Oh, Lawrence, gas over the semi. Do you mean the Lawrence, do you mean this one? Yeah, this is a gorgeous So interesting thing about this one, Lawrence, was that I wanted this as a jazz guitar, and this is the only Fibonari that I didn't have. I didn't design. I didn't like spec and like customize and work with them on. This was I needed a jazz guitar relatively quickly. This was like 2018, 19, and they had this already built. It was one that was. It was one that was built for a show they did in, I think it was Belgium, and it didn't sell. So it was brought back to the workshop and they just had it, and I was speccing out one. This is called their Rahan, so this is their basic jazz Rahan model, and I was speccing it out, and then they said, oh well, we've got one that's very, very close. It was almost identical to what my spec was, except This is a big old chonker baseball bat of a neck. So it's a proper, like, big boys chonker. It might not seem it from there, but for me it feels it. It's a real big, it's got a big girth on it. So if I had have spec'd this, I would not have spec'd this neck. That's the only kind of area of this guitar that's not like exactly to my liking. But it makes me like work, you know, it makes me have to think. So that's what was the original thing about getting this guitar, was as a jazz guitar. But the way that Fibonari do things in their natural state, unless you request otherwise, they always like to build with brass nuts. So all of mine, I think, yeah, they all have brass nuts apart from the blue one, which is bone, which I'd requested on this one, and that's a bone nut, and will be on all of them that they build. Now, I actually think brass nuts are really quite cool in that you get a nice tone consistency from fretted notes to open strings. I think is quite a and it's what they do. It's one of the things they're kind of known for. The downsides is that, like, you have to cut them to really fit for string gauges. So they cut this nut for 10 to 46. And then when I got it, because I wanted it as a jazz guitar, so I then put like 11s on it, and 11 to 52, and I was having all kinds of intonation issues because tuning issues. So because the nut slot's not being enough, so I kind of persevered for it for a little while, and then went back to 10 to 46s when I got my ES175. So I've got a 175 downstairs, and that became a jazz guitar. And then this one is kind of, as you say, Lawrence, it's like it kind of can do the jazz tone on the neck pickup, but it also kind of barks really nicely for rocks, you know, kind of shreddy stuff on the bridge pickup as well. So yeah, it's it's a gorgeous one. So yeah, it's called there. The stains are really nice as well, and it's like super light. It's Carina. So the whole thing's Carina. It's gorgeous. Oh, I've just pulled out the USB lead from the FM3. Now this is the really crazy one. It's from a few years ago. This is the basic jazz. They call it the basic jazz. Well, no, it's not. It's it's the modern name. This thing is insane. The tone on this, just unplug the resonance of this. So this is a one-piece maple bill top, lightweight mahogany back, and then a rosewood. Just a gorgeous one-piece rosewood neck. Yeah, the top on this was the first time I went to NAMM. There was this with Fibonari in 2017. Chubba, who's the master builder, the owner of Fibonari, like he'd always build one of these, and I would just similar, and I was always just totally mesmerized by the tops. This maple burl in this turtle ocean blue that they do, and I was like one day. Even though, you know, I'm not really a Les Paul guy, the way that they design the basic jazz is so nicely kind of tweaked into like to just sort of fitting me in terms of the neck angle and stuff. And I've got a video on my YouTube channel where I did like a vlog trip to Budapest to collect this to the workshop, and I was just blown away by the resonance of this guitar, the ring, and the balance of. It's one of those things that's really hard to demonstrate, to capture, but. This is like piano-like, just unplugged like this. It's like every note. It's so beautifully balanced across every note on the fretboard. It's freaky in like of how. It's such a beautiful sound and clean, you know. Particularly, it's absolutely gorgeous. Love Rosewood Necks. They weigh a ton though. This surprisingly doesn't. It's not like, I don't know if I've got a strap, but it doesn't have the kind of like super drop or anything like that. This whole guitar is £8, just maybe just under 8 actually. It's, as far as Les Pauls and mahogany go, it's super lightweight. No, Vitrucci, it's not chambered. They do chambered versions, very light, but I didn't want it chambered. I just wanted solid mahogany and rosewood. It's yeah, it's, you know, it's beautiful, beautiful, and the finish of how they do like the satin kind of smooth kind of finish on this is, I don't know if you can, if I turn around it, no, it's not going to work, but yeah, it's a gorgeous guitar. Yes, Lawrence. Too much, although on my presets I should really have changed that back down to, it's got these, the humbuckers have got more girth to them. So a little bit crunchier than I would like for something like that. And tuning wise, it's incredibly well behaved, it's just these strings are old. Yeah, it sounded so live acoustically, I thought it may be. Yeah, well that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I don't know how well it's coming through, because obviously you're hearing it acoustically through this when I've got it clean off, but such a, yeah, piano like balance and clarity to it, and what it's just, yeah, beautiful. But no, not chambered, just a lightweight, incredible. Fibonari use, because they don't make tons of guitars, they're incredibly passionate about using the right things. You know, they're very much a small family bespoke kind of luthier, and they've just got an amazing collection of woods, very stable, dried out, you know, legacy wood library that they can kind of pull from for various things, and they reach to the top shelf on this one. I think, in terms of the sympathetic resonance and like the weights and things. So yeah, it's a gorgeous one. Although, like, I do play it a fair amount, but just, you know, I'm a Strat guy, so not as much as probably I should. But yeah, when I need that Les Paul single cut thing and, you know, a change, it's definitely the one to pull for. And some of you guys may not have seen this while I'm doing all my Fibonari's. Here was my first Fibonari, crazy one. This. So this is the wild card that you might not. Oh, Sam, it was totally just through the Guitar Hour with Tom and Dan. It was, yeah, so basically when I started doing the Guitar Hour live streams, 2016, I think it was, I got chatting with the Fibonari guys via email after doing those streams, and I think it was one when, you know, obviously Tom and Dan using them at the time. And as I was on the show, you know, they offered me very kindly. I was obviously absolute nobody, of course, and still am, but still nobody. But you know, it was one of them things. They were very kindly offered me a discount, an artist deal on this bad boy, and then I used it on the Guitar House streams and went to NAMM, did some clinics, performances. That was the year, just. It's one of those really freak things that happened. Like I went out to NAMM with his guitar and was with Fibonari at the show, and it was the year that Tom broke his elbow in the torrential rainstorm on the last day of the show, and he was supposed to fly to New York to do the Rudy's music clinic, and he couldn't. His arm was broken in a sling. So they asked me on the last day to change my plans, if I would consider like going to New York instead of going back home, and basically playing like stunt guitar. So, you know, Tom and those guys would do the talking, and then I would just kind of like play the different guitars for the clinic, which was kind of the most terrifying and amazing experience of my life, really, like, because it was so unexpected and, you know, mad. Yeah, but amazing. And that's how we kind of forged the relationship, because I kind of helped them out of a really tricky spot on that first trip. And then since then, I've obviously do the NAMM thing. I've done some European stuff, and I've done the Shanghai, the China shows for them, demonstrating and doing clinics and things. Been back to Rudy's again. We went back in 2019, I think, with Jake and Dan, and we did our own 3-way clinic there for them in New York. So yeah, it's been a real honour to sort of work with them and get to play amazing guitars. But so this is the erotic. It's the Hungarian ash. Ovankol neck. Look at the neck on this one. Beautiful. And a quilted maple top. So I play them all a lot, but the blue Roadmaster Strat and this HSS one are like 1A and 1B, and it swaps around which is which depending on how I'm feeling. Oh, that's a big old face shot you don't want. I agree, Vice Ricciucci. I think HSS is like, it's probably like the best pickup combination, or the most practical pickup combination. It's the most functional and practical pickup combination. The other thing about this guitar that's kind of cool is it's got it's got a push on the tone. So this is push, and when it's down it's normal, but when I push I get a wide humbucker, because it kind of puts these into series, I think. So it kind of like puts these two together as if it was a humbucker. So you get so here's the single coils as normal. I do the push the tone. So it gets a thicker, rounder sound. Rather than splitting the bridge, which I've never really understood why people do that. Like, it's something I don't think I'd ever have a use for. Like, it's very common, isn't it, to have like a push-pull or whatever to split the bridge. But I don't know, it just seems like there's not much call for that I think it's much more useful in order to beef up the neck and the neck in a very natural-like way. But yeah, I think like 3 single coils is amazing, but it's just so hard to get, you know, the balance right. Like to get the bridge single coil right is such a voodoo. I think you either end up with it being like if you get it tonally really nice, then and accurate and vintage, then it gets swallowed up in a band. But if you kind of overjuice it and overcrank it, you know, so for example on this one, so when I was working on the pickups for this one, I specifically asked for a bit more juice on the bridge. So these are low, sort of vintagey. On the neck and middle. But on the bridge, it's really quite, there's quite a lot more juice there, which on its own, just playing like this now, is a little bit, you probably think it's a bit too, it's not quite right, but in a band context, it's perfect. So I always find that it's a compromise. With a 3 single coil guitar, you can sort of balance and voice the pickups so it sounds really nice on its own with no other instruments. But the moment that you're in a band and you switch to the bridge, it can get lost. Like I've got the K-Line Springfield as well. Pickups sound incredible on it. And it's all beautiful and balanced across the guitar. And then you drop to the bridge in the band setting and you just lose it. So there's that option, or you can do it like I've done on this, where it's a little bit pokier and a little bit more aggressive on the bridge, which in isolation, it doesn't sound perhaps as good, but it's the right call to make when you actually want to drop to the bridge pickup on a single coil and actually cut through a little bit in the band setting. So it's a real, I always find like 3 single coil guitars are there's always like a compromise for that bridge pickup when you're kind of in a mix scenario, and in an actual live scenario. Obviously on record it's different, you can whatever, but just recording. So yeah, I find, and that's what that's what I think HSS kind of helps with and gets around, because you can it's like it's easier to get that balance. What I'd recommend for bridge would be a parallel series versus a split. Yeah. Richard Snapchat, I'm Sudanese and trying to start a band here in London. Can you please tell me how to spell band? Is it band or bend? You got it right first time. B-A-N-D, band. Good luck with starting your band. What kind of band is it you're starting? How long have you been in London? don't know why that came to me. Oh, the mini toggle was originally it had dummy coils. Well, it still has the coils, but they've just been snipped for a silent system. But the switching that I'd asked for was really quite elaborate, and it required a very complex super switch. And yeah, I had some issues with it. So in the end, I rewired it, cut the dummy coils, and just had it rewired to a standard normal three-way. With the tone control, the second tone control on the bridge. So the mini switches just doesn't do anything now. I think on the models, on the builds, I think they're building 8 of them, I think, and replicas of it. And I think they are putting an updated version of the silent system in there. Still the same pickups, still everything the same. It's just that the switch is better. They've got a better switch that it's going to be more reliable to handle the complex switching. Richard, I'm attempting to start a deathcore psych rock band. I hope it will be accepted, as it was not in my home country. Well, good luck with it, man. Yeah, and yeah, that's hopefully, yeah, good luck with it. Who's your inspirations for that? I'm not sure. I'm not really up on the deathcore psych rock scene. I don't know. Wouldn't know where to start. But good luck. What's your first language, Richard, in Sydney? Is that? Adriano Rotondaro. Welcome to the stream. You started a band in Nashville doing all grunge covers, and the band name is Lollapaloozas. Very good. Too many to name, Richard. It's changed over the years as well. pointers, I'm afraid, for that. That's out of my wheelhouse. It's actually really fun learning songs I've never played before, and they sound like that to play complex songs. I've played them for so well. Yeah, soundboard's cool, man. Yeah. There's a lot of grunge stuff I've become very fond of as I've gotten older. I didn't like it at the time, but I was really young, and it was, yeah, I'm enjoying that. So I think everything I wanted to do on this Chocker Vision preset is about there for now anyway. Oh, did I not save that before? Why has that gone to be chunky again? Maybe I just clicked off it, and unless I've missed. Huh. Definitely need that as HB chunky. Vice Satrucci. I can't say your name. What's your actual name, Vice Satrucci? Because I can't pronounce that Vice Satrucci. I'm going to put that up. I hated grunge at the time because it killed all my fave hair metal bands' careers. Literally the same as me. I've come to appreciate it and love it now, however. Exactly the same as me. Well, nice to meet you, Andrew. I'll remember that. Or I'll try and remember anyway. I'm sure I will. But in fact, I will do, because it's much easier to pronounce than Visacharucci. Ah, I'm missing the A. Visacharucci. But no, I'm still wrong. I think your name is trolling me. Visacharucci. Wow, that's so hard. Right. Anyone? I'm going to try and get to sleep now. Anyone, any final sort of questions or thoughts? Interesting. I think pulling the cable out of my FM3 might have locked it up. What's going on there? No, it's fine. I need to do the firmware 10 main release update as well. Oh, Andrew, yeah, I get it. It's just, for some reason, it doesn't come out of my mouth at all. It doesn't roll off my tongue at all. Every time I've tried to say it when you've been on stream, I've just get stuck. Oh, Lawrence, yeah, man. We'll have to jam it one day and you can show me how it's done. It's absolutely beautiful, man. It's such an enigma and like a beautiful puzzle that's so pretty and like interesting to play. And, yeah. Jens's idea to take it down the octave was quite nice. Although I have to, can't do it in my head quick enough, but yeah. Andrew, I tune in standard. Standard tuning. Lawrence, are you? I don't know if I asked you this already, but are you standard tuning, or do you do the? Oh, of course you do, because that was the video that another video I saw that you, yeah, talk about you saying that you don't like standard tuning for good reason, and kind of agree with you. Yeah, standard is totally like fine. I had already learnt the fretboard in terms of note names in standard tuning very thoroughly before I'd really encountered the 2-point system or contemplated that. I was thinking intervallically, but when I started going back and forth with Tom with regards to the 2-point geometric thing, I kind of made a decision as I was developing that to not do fourths because of the massive trade-offs it ends up forcing you to make. And if you do the 2-point system, if you practice it, it's just there's no difference really in terms of you get all the benefits without the drawbacks, I think. And that, that's just Tom and I, as we teach that, and it's like he says the same. I think he commented on Lawrence's video as well about the omitting those kind of drawbacks and potential pitfalls. But I mean, if you're in fourths, it's obviously fine. I mean, it does allow some interesting things, and there is a very pretty visual symmetry, but I don't really have that because of the way that the 2-point thing works for me. It's sort of the same. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for watching. It's very kind of you. Go and check out Lawrence's playing as well. If you like legato, he's a very, very good legato fusion jazz player. Yeah, on his channel. And I hope you sleep well too, Andrew. Night. Right, I'm doing it. I'm going to wind down. Cheers, dude. No, Lawrence, take care, man. Catch you later. Nice one, Jeff. Thanks, Sam. Hope you get some sleep too. All you UK guys, I thought I was the only crazy person up. Yeah, nice hangs. Thanks for keeping me company. Catch you later, all.